Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Talking Horses. Anthony Stabile and Andy Serling. The day after the penultimate weekend of preps, and we saw nice performances down in Florida, as well as Angel of Empire destroying the field basically in Arkansas. Any thoughts on those races, Anthony?
Yeah, you know, Angel of Empire started his march in the half-mile pole. He's really come into his own. He keeps improving his buyer on dirt, whatever he started. I think there was a turf start or a poly start thrown in there. I was impressed by Forte just because it seemed like he had just so much Andy go against him. He was washing out a little bit. Looks like he lost a little weight, too, between starts. That draw's tough down at Gulfstream Park. And then kind of out of position a little bit early, lost some position down the backstretch, had those two horses run past him, including second place finisher Mage, and he still went and got them in the last 70 yards. So I was impressed. I don't love that he's going to stay in Florida for a work. If I were Todd Pletcher, I would have got him out of Florida as soon as I could after the events of yesterday. But Todd's won a few more races than I have, so to me, he's the horse to beat going into the first Saturday.
Yeah, I have very different opinions. I did think Angel Empire, who I didn't like going the race, did run very well. I think the race was a bit of an eyesore behind him.
I agree with that.
But he ran very well, I agree with you. He made a premature move in there, and those are the kind of moves that blow up in horses' faces, and it didn't, and he just kept on running. I was very impressed by him. They got a 94 buyer, which in this field puts him in the mix. I won't be surprised if that's around the figure that the Florida Derby eventually gets, and we'll get to that in a second, even though it was given a 98, but I think that's probably going to change. I don't agree about the Florida Derby. The only thing I didn't like, first of all, I think Mage ran the better race. Mage got left. Now, it's a problem that Mage has gotten left twice in a row.
Now.
And I'm not saying I love Mage for the Derby because it's, you know, Curlin went in the Derby with a similar sort of itinerary, and he was Curlin.
Yeah, this horse probably isn't Curlin.
But this crop is in the 2007 crop.
That's true, too.
So he can't get left, though. He's gotten left twice in a row, and that's a problem. But to me, Louis made the premature move, and I think the race was won by Forte when Irad tucked in when Louis was going around, and then he angled out at the end of the turn.
Kind of followed him.
And I don't like the fact that he had to ride him the whole way. It just seems like Forte hasn't have the speed he used to have. And as you know, I've been a big fan of this horse from day one. So this is not some horse I'm looking like. I'm the one who told people 6 weeks ago he should be their Derby favorite, and on Twitter everybody told me I was an idiot, as usual, and maybe I am, but for other reasons. But I don't like that he had to be ridden the whole way. And he's starting to give me a little bit of a Mohayman feel, that he was a very good two-year-old that hasn't progressed. Now, to be fair, Todd doesn't want him to run his best race there. But I didn't like his race here, and I don't love the race. And the problem is that Craig Mikowski just tweeted, and Craig is generally considered to sort of be the ombudsman in racing of timing and the man that people go to get the accurate times, and unfortunately so many mistimed races in racing. And David Aragona had alerted him that he thought the time was wrong, and Craig retimed it. Now, I don't know how wrong, but the time is slower, according to Craig, and I trust Craig as much more than I trust anybody else.
Did he give a time?
He didn't. He said more to come. He just tweeted it before I was coming upstairs.
They said it came back, what were they, 148 and 3?
Yeah, it does seem like
right?
it could be a reasonable amount slower. I'm not saying it's going to be 3 seconds or as much as even a second. It could be close to that. I don't know, but that'll cause people to reevaluate it. I don't want to knock Forte because I've been a fan of his, but I'm a little bit suspect because I thought that Mage ran the better race than he did yesterday, and it was the first time I've seen Forte in a race where I didn't feel like he ran the best race.
He looked vulnerable yesterday.
And yeah, I mean, you take that race in isolation, forget everything else. Now,
that was the first time you said to yourself, this horse doesn't look, which of these things is not like the other on his card?
I thought Angel of Empire was the more impressive horse yesterday. I'll tell you something else. Let's take a look at the Florida horses by the race that Rocket Can ran yesterday in Arkansas. He didn't run. He couldn't even get by Reincarnate, who was basically dead empty top of the stretch.
He looked like he was going to be off the board.
Right. He didn't have anything top of the stretch. And you know, I was talking to Randy Moss a little earlier, and he made an interesting point to me. The California horse that went to Florida didn't do any running.
He went to the lead. He really had no excuse. I mean, he went fast, but he had no excuse. He was left alone on the front end.
Reincarnate, incredibly disappointing yesterday, and it makes you start to wonder how good are the horses in California. So, I mean, at this point, I don't think there's a huge question out there who the most talented 3-year-old might be in the Derby. It might be the horse that won the UAE Derby. Now, I don't think either you and I are going to be people that are going to be betting horses on that route to the Derby.
I learned my Mubtaij lesson a long time ago.
But
and this horse is obviously light years better than Mubtaij, but
In talking to
I
Randy
don't
Moss
trust
about it a bit, Randy feels that the FIG is probably like 5 points higher than whatever you want to give the Dubai World Cup. Now, I'm not saying the Dubai World Cup was better than 98 or 97. I don't know what it was.
Whatever
but
it is,
you're talking
he's
about
better
a
than all
horse.
the horses.
Right.
Right.
And now, the Derby is a hard enough race to win. And to throw in Japan to Dubai and Dubai to America, it's tricky. And the other thing is, we're not the only ones that know this, that this horse ran fast. Everybody, the Japan horses are all the rage now, and maybe for good reason.
And you
but
hear
you're talking about a 5-1 shot all of a sudden in the Derby.
He
and
can't
it's
be
just not-
higher because you hear about how this crop is, and you see.
And he may win, but I'm not sure I want to get $12
You want to give me 15
on a horse
to, you want to give me 15 to
right,
I'll take
on
a
that
think
route
about it.
with this horse. But
Yeah.
there's a real possibility that he might be the best horse in this race.
Could be.
It's interesting, and I think that it's just wide open at this point. I'm going to tell you something. Yeah, we're homers, and we want to see the Wood winner win the
course.
Derby. I'm not so sure that Hit Show, depending on what he does next week in the Wood, might be one of the most
A real
interesting horses
player.
in the Derby. I mean, this horse
Absolutely.
ran a low 90s figure in the beginning of February in the Withers.
Going
and,
9. And
you
now
know,
he's at
it's
2
Brad
months.
Cox.
2 months.
So
Yep.
just remember, there's 3 races to be run next week: Santa Anita, Bluegrass, and Wood. There's a lot more to be learned. I think we learned a little bit yesterday. I think we'll learn more next weekend. Anyway, we should get to work here. Head over to Naira Bets. If you're not a member of Naira Bets, no better time than the present. Use promo code bonus200. We'll match you to $200 of your initial deposit. We have a 10% trifecta bonus on Sundays at Aqua. Got to opt in for that. Anthony, I know you want to mention your Derby thing. I know we've had a problem with the slate, but you want to mention your dinner with the Derby coming up in a few weeks, right?
Thank you, Andy. Yeah, it's Wednesday, May 3rd, so it's the night before opening day at beautiful Belmont Park. It's Keisha Clement, Maggie Wolfendale, and myself. Tickets are $110, table of 10. King Umberto's, yep. Thank you. 6:30 to 10. Tickets are $110 individuals, $1,000 for a table of 10. A portion of the proceeds goes to the Belmont Child Care Association. We're also going to have a silent auction for the first time. All of the proceeds for that goes to the Belmont Child Care Association. Amongst the items, there's a night and a $50 gift card to Mohegan Sun, who's one of the title sponsors. There's going to be some tickets to the Belmont Stakes, courtesy of the New York Racing Association. There's going to be a painting by trainer Amir Shashakli, a bunch of other stuff.
What is the date?
Wednesday, May 3rd, 6:30 to 10. King Umberto's. You could Venmo or Zelle. Yes, I'm in the 21st century. At the Big A Stabile 31.
Had I known it was going to take 3 minutes for this, I might not have said anything.
Anthony Stabile
Anyway,
31.
can we move on with
Thank
these
you,
slates?
Andy.
It's the 3rd,
Yes.
May 3rd. I'm sure you can find information probably at Anthony's Twitter as
Yes,
well.
correct.
We have a cross country starts at 3:15, 2 from Tampa, 2 from Oaklawn, and the top flight here as well. And the show today will be 3 to 6 on FS2. Race number 1. I'm not sure why I did it, but I showed the replay for Pioneer Spirit off the claim for Linda Rice. I looked up a funny stat for Linda Rice, and we'll take a look at her in a second. Did Joel wait a little long with this horse? I mean, I don't know. I bet a horse that, I think the horse I bet actually won at Laurel this week, but that's paid $4. But it did seem like he may have given him a little too much to do. I looked up maiden special weights off the claim, but it's not a maiden special, it's a maiden claimer. So forget about that, what I looked up. So this thing is maiden special. I don't know. She's coming back on short rest from Todd with this horse, but not going to be surprised if this horse is effective here. It's not meeting any killers.
No, he's not. I decided to shy away for the simple fact that I don't see. Oh, you don't have money? Yeah. I mean, I just don't see any speed in here.
Well, I do, the 2.
See, and I stole your horse, thinking that maybe Jose Gomez would just come out of there, and Jack predicted out of the gate today. And maybe the 2's faster with the blinkers and just naturally faster.
Naturally faster. Considerably.
Yeah, I'm just hoping that Jose and Tony Dutch will get together and say, you know what, let's try and put this horse on the lead today, coming out of the 7/8 race, coming out of the flat mile around 1 turn, and just try and blast off here today.
You'll have to make them a lot faster to win this race. In Cloud Forest, the horse to beat are the 2 horses inside. In Cloud Forest, who's coming off the layup and dropping for Bill Mott. I looked up some stats, maiden special, maiden claim of the dirt. Bill Mott's got good numbers. I think he's got like a 42%. I don't know if I put it up, but maiden special and maiden claim in the dirt. Bill Mott's 15 for 36, 42%, 238 ROI. He's 6 for 14 with routers with a similar ROI. He's 1 for 1 off a layoff of 5 to 9 months. I looked that up with it was a 2-to-1 shot that won. But he's won with these drop downs, and I think he's very dangerous. He has the fastest races. I just think Power and Numbers is supposed to go today. But also, Power and Numbers had a little bit of trouble last time. He sort of came in. He kind of stumbled after the start in that race. He moved up wide. The rail was the place to be. I do think the fig's a little on the high side, where he's probably ran closer to a 70. I don't love that they're dropping in for 75 so quickly, but maybe they're just being realistic with him, that he's probably not going to win a maiden special, and he's not going to be a stakes horse, and maybe it's where he belongs. I liked him in here. He's the lightest raced horse, but I think the 1 and 2, they're the favorites. They're the obvious horses.
All right.
Race number 2, we'll take a look at Will Be Famous, who you have on top, breaking his maiden. The only thing is he clearly the speed, or she, I'm sorry.
Pretty Miss Keynes?
Yeah, I think she's faster than Pretty Miss Keynes, though, and I think Manny realizes the way to be successful with this horse is just send.
That's what I was thinking. I mean, her best race by far was that heat where Manny, who's back aboard today, just blasted off. She tried to do the same thing last time in the How's Your Cash Flow race, and
it was a fast pace.
It was a
Let
fast
me ask you a
pace.
question.
Yep.
Does it bother you at all how badly all the horses out of that race ran here the other day? I mean,
yeah,
they
didn't fire at all.
No shows
you had that
whatsoever.
Race, good job on that race, by the way. And that race was, you had that race pegged. Yeah, it does bother me a little bit.
That bothered me. That's the reason I didn't put him on top.
She just seems a lot faster than Pretty Miss Keynes, doesn't she?
She does. No, I agree with you. I think she is faster. And Javier's right, Pretty Miss Keynes.
Yep.
Here for Kathleen O, I saw that Jose Ortiz is back here on Thursday, so it's nice to see some of the guys coming back. I hope Javier's staying.
I saw PJ Thursday morning, and I think that it's just Javier's agent, Eric Cancel's agent. I think he's gone for a few days and then back.
All right. Well,
so
it's nice to see him riding here.
Yeah.
I took Goldiness. No big secret. The Jamie Ness horse has been running. We'll take a look at this race. And, the horse that won the other day, it turned out that race that Ness won the other day, that race kind of fell apart. It didn't get I think got a 66 buyer, even on the low side, it was around a 70. And when the favorite was a complete no-show, that race became a bit of an eyesore. And the horse kind of ran back to his last race. But I was looking up the race this horse comes out of. Second horse won, proving the buyer 3 points. Fourth horse came back and improved 13 points. Sixth horse won, improved 11 points. Horses are coming out of that race and running. The third horse in here, you wouldn't bet him in here with anybody's money. But you know what? Ness has been shipping horses that are winning. He's the second fastest horse. I don't like the race the 6 came out of, so I put him on top. Like the first race, though, I think it's these 2 horses.
Yeah, I just want these 2 as well.
Race number 3. This is the race we've all been waiting for. We'll take a look at Affalata finishing second to Wishing on a Star last time out. And you've gone to Affalata. I've gone to the morning line favorite, Welcome to My World, because, and I'll tell you something about Welcome to My World. She's not very impressive when you start taking her races apart. But she is dropping a lot for her trainer, Rob Atras, who's been doing pretty well lately. So I put her on top because I can't put Affalata on top.
I can't believe I picked Affalata. If I took the recency, I couldn't take this horse going from the special weights to 20 off of the 3.5 months. Do I have to say any more?
I get it. There's not a lot to say about this race. I mean, it's very hard to make cases for anybody else here. And by the way, I'm hearing that the Florida Derby may be as much as a second slower in reality for people out there. So we'll see how that plays out over time. But the people who are looking at the time of this race are the people the industry goes to for their opinions, because they are right and they are accurate. All right, race number 4. I think you and I land on the same horse here. This was a race that I couldn't find a replay for this race if I searched back 5 races for anybody here, and that's a rarity. Go ahead with Ginsu Warrior.
I'm betting the train to change.
Me too.
Yeah, I'm betting the train to change. This is a horse I had a little thing for. I've tried this horse in every...
You'd be breaking up, by the way, with what's his name after yesterday? The Bond horse? You had enough? You moving on? You got to stop. If you pick that horse next time, I'm going to throw a tomato at your head.
That other horse, the winner ran well.
Yeah, I know. He beat me for a fortune.
Winner ran well.
Not a fortune, but a little money.
The winner
I'm going to show you a stat for Charlie Baker.
The winner ran well.
I'm going to show you a stat that astounded me. How about this stat? Trainer switches at Naira on the dirt, in dirt sprints. I love that picture. 5 for 10. He's 5 for 14 overall. He's 0 for 4 with routers. I'm sorry. Sprinters. 0 for 4 with routers. So it's really worked out at a high level. And this is a horse that he's got races fast enough to win anyway. It's not like you couldn't make a case for him without the trainer change, because I mean, the horse I put second is Viva Bien.
I have him second too.
Because he's speed. And I thought he could be forward, and the other speed is Bourbon's Hoping. I mean, maybe Linda resurrects him, but my gosh, has he been awful. And, I mean, I don't know where it's supposed to go. Southern Passage is obviously the interesting horse in the race, and I'm as big an Antonio Arriaga fan as there is. His early races sprinting were not particularly good, but you're talking about a horse that always runs long, and he's cutting back in this race with dubious form and no speed really signed on whatsoever. So it's very hard to see him get any kind of trip, but you can't say he can't win here.
No, you just, I mean, you're hoping that he found the right bunch of horses. He's running in so much better. But the problem is he's so slow early.
I know.
That it might not matter who
he's
he's
slow
running
going long.
Yeah, it might not matter who he's running
Even
against.
if he's, I mean, listen, he could win this race on memory because of who he's running against,
Right.
but he just seems like he's so up against it. But I guess if you like him, you're just sort of saying, I don't know, I just think he's the best horse in the race. He's going to show up, which
Right.
isn't always the wrong way to look at it. But from a dynamic standpoint, he's got a tough row to hoe. Late pick 4. We'll start with race 5. We'll come back after a quick break.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
Welcome back to Talking Horses. Anthony Stabile and Andy Serling as we come up on race number 6.
5.
Or 5, 6, whatever. Thank you. I mean, you can plow through this race as much as you want, but there's a 4-5 morning line and a 7-5 morning line, and if somebody beats both of these horses, I don't think the two guys up here are going to have that horse. We'll take a look at Buston Bay. I think this is 2-back winning. I don't know. Buston Bay going a mile. I guess she's in very good form. Listen, Mia Be a Star isn't exactly a winning type. I took her at a slightly better price. I'm a bit of a coin flip, and I just took the bigger price.
I just took the one that's going to be that's going to have the pace advantage.
No, I don't disagree.
That's the problem. I tried to pick Mia Be a Star too.
I'm not. I'm being contrary to your pick, but I don't disagree with you.
Yeah, I mean, she's just going to be in front, right?
I don't have anything
Unless
to say.
Karamoka showed some speed 3 back.
So what? Social stalker.
Yeah.
She did in the race we just looked at.
Right. That's what I mean.
I'm not against the 6 by any stretch of the imagination. I just took the other one, to be honest with you.
It's very hard to make somebody else in
She's run better
here.
figures, Mia Be a Star, and she's sort of a remarkable horse, but she's still Mia Be a Star. But she does seem to close into races that don't always have particularly fast paces.
That's true, too.
Race number 6. We'll get to that.
Now we can talk about the
So
6.
here's the replay I can come up with. How about this one? Incantation. So I'm guessing Incantation is going to take some money in this race, and I do think it's important to note that Midnight Express came back here. Now, I don't think he should have been favored, but he was favored, and he was awful.
Stunk.
Absolutely
He
awful.
stunk.
He had an easy lead, and he stopped top of the stretch. I liked Incantation last time. I got the money with him, but I'm questionable about this race overall. I think he just won a bad race.
This was not a West Star was a long way back in 3rd. I mean, this is a race where they beat the rest of the field by a long way. The problem is the 2nd place finisher came back and was awful. So you got to really question what he beat. That should be 3-1-5-2, guys.
I got him second. I scratched him for second. I had the 4 second near Mike Trombetta shipping up. We both picked the 3. We'll take a look at Going in Style's win over Winning Connection, actually, back at Aqueduct.
Yeah,
look at those turf courses. They look like they look now.
Yeah, this is him getting back to a fast track for the first time after running on a couple of muddy
It
tracks.
was opening day, I think, at Aqueduct. Belmont at Aqueduct.
Belmont and Aqueduct, the 18th. That sounds about right.
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah. He had blinkers first 2 starts of his career. They go back on today. Gets a trainer change.
I think this is an interesting trainer change. And not knocking Jose Cameo. People aren't familiar with Juan Bernardini. He worked for Scott Lake. So he worked for a guy who's pretty sharp.
Yep.
And I was looking up the courses he ran. He ran a couple horses. They didn't run that badly.
Beer's horse, right? My friend's Beer.
Yep. But he didn't have him because he won, because he has him. He's 0 for 2. I thought this was kind of interesting, and I like this horse in here. I just think he's like a new, fresh face coming in here for a lot of horses that, I mean, in spite of trainer,
that last race is so bad now.
Disaster. Also, Linda won a lot of races, and you sort of wonder, it's going to happen to most trainers. You win as many races, they're just never going to keep winning. I don't care who you are, and I think she's probably in a little bit of a lull, and maybe he'll run back to his better, but even his better races aren't that good.
Right. That's the problem with him, his better races.
Yeah, I'll take Going in Style. The other thing about Going in Style is Eric's supposed to send this horse. He's supposed to be in front in here, isn't he?
Pair of blinkers back on. He showed speed when he had the blinkers, especially in the second start. Yeah, he's supposed to be forward in here. No question about it.
So as well. Race number 7, the Top Flight. Top Flight actually came up a fun race, and we can sometimes these filly and mare races can be hungry. I wanted to pick against Kathleen O. I really did, because she doesn't have any speed. And I also wonder if ultimately Shug ends up turning her back in distance. I kind of wonder, is she really, now listen, she's run good figures going longer. I don't know why people be afraid of turning back in distance. Are they that afraid that Goodnight Olive is one of the all-time great filly or mare sprinters? She's a nice horse, but she's not running figures
that
are,
yeah, those figures are not that fast.
You know, 100-ish. And I mean, I'm not knocking her. I'm just saying, let's be realistic. And this is her second place finish in the Cumley. I put it up because she ran against Falconet, and I tried to sort of group as many of these together in races as I could for replays. I mean, I don't know. I know she keeps hanging. You know, Classy Edition, who beat her, she's run 2 raging big figures for Todd Pletcher down in Florida. So I know New York bred that people may not be as familiar with, but she ran huge races for Todd in Florida. So I don't think it's that bad she lost it. But she is getting this piling up the seconds for a horse that started out by winning her first 4 races. And she doesn't have speed, which concerns me.
Yeah. And the blinkers going on. You know, it's
desperation.
Yeah.
A little bit. Get her more in the game.
Yeah, and you know, sometimes that backfires.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't think Red Route 1 was doing anything anyway. I don't think the blinkers really mattered on him. But yeah, horses are who they are.
And you're gonna, you know, if you're a trainer, and this is the difference between being a trainer and doing it and being a horse player and doing it. You're a trainer and you want to do it, that's fine. You want to be part of that experiment as a horse player at 4 to 5? I don't.
I am not her biggest fan in this race. I believe she's the best horse in here, but I don't absolutely trust her. I'll tell you, I think there's a subplot within the subplot is the pace. Because the 2 speeds are the 2 Todd Pletcher horses, Falconet and Let Her Inspire You. And there's really nobody else that's that fast, though I think Eric needs to be forward with the horse that you have on top and I have second. Because somebody has to make sure at least that they're not crawling up front. Because if the 1 and 7 sort of run shotgun for each other, Todd's going to, and if I were Todd, I'd be looking to do that, and he should look to do that. If nobody else wants to go, I don't mean this as a negative, I mean as a positive, and these guys are smart guys. You know, you put yourself in a position where you're dominating. It's not like Falconet and Let Her Inspire You are bums. Now, Let Her Inspire You is not running good figures lately. I put her third because she could be forward, and I didn't like anybody else. And Falconet's not bad. Maybe she just sort of allowed that horse to dictate in the front end. She was outside. The rail was good last time. Are you really going to be shocked if Todd wins this race?
No. No. And this race was shaping up to be a 4 or 5 horse field. And then a couple of these fillies jumped in at the last minute. So Let Her Inspire You was on the fence for a while. Let Her Inspire You jumped in. They've made it their business, Andy, to have Falconet off the lead. So my guess is...
Nah, they got to go.
I don't think it's going to happen, man.
It's not. It didn't work.
I think that's why Let Her Inspire You's in here. I think Let Her Inspire You's in here because
then
they
she'll
think...
be in front.
Yeah, I think Let Her Inspire You's in front in here.
Well, I think that makes her dangerous, and that's why I have her
Okay,
third.
there you go.
I also don't trust Falconet off the last race, but I think her race was better than it looks. As far as Mama's Got to Run, we'll show that race 2 back, which includes Let Her Inspire You and Timeless Journey. And I think the argument for her is that she was best this day, and at least last time, she managed to stay in the race.
She didn't pull her antics last time.
But it was a 1-turn race, and we talked about this. I even talked to Linda about this. And I wonder if the 2 turns is more of her undoing, because this is the same thing. She's the same thing the time before this. She's in position, and she just dropped out of the race.
But she didn't do it on the turn last time. She did it on both turns in the 2-turn race. But with the blinker, she didn't do it on the turn last time. So I know they're different beasts. But the fact that she ran through the turn last time, I think can give you a little confidence. And it's part of the reason I picked her today. It's part of and the other part of the reason I picked her is Falconet stakes.
Well, you want to be against Kathleen O, and
right.
she makes a lot of.
Right.
Look, I figured second. I don't think it's a
stakes faced.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
I think we ignored a potential speed in here, and
Easy-
maybe she
easy to
never.
bless?
I mean, she never breaks. But what if she gets out of the gate today?
Well, you said it. She never breaks.
But if she gets out of the gate, and that's a huge if.
If you're,
They
I
didn't
don't.
enter her radar to mile
I
and
don't
eighth.
know why you're in here. Correct. If you're coming out of those sprint races, and it's all sprints. I don't know why you're in here. You know.
Yeah, but the problem is she doesn't get out of the gate.
Right. That's the problem.
We'll see what happens here. Glad to see Kathleen O back. Nice to see some of our familiar faces coming back from Florida. Another sign of spring. Race number 8 is a race that Anthony and I agree on, and we'll take a look at Carbon and Liberty Flame. This is the last race for Liberty Flame, but I think a few back actually for Carbon. This is 2 back actually, I think. No, I don't know. No, it's 1 back. I thought Carbon ran very, very well in here. The concern with Carbon is that she didn't run well last time. She was entered for a tag right after that and scratched. She comes back for a tag. I'll show you Linda's numbers for first time for a tag. They are not good. Easy to bless is scratched, by the way, so she's not going to be the speed. I got two texts about that. So even if she breaks today, she won't be the speed because she'll be breaking out of her stall. It's very hard to trust Carbon. Obviously, she's probably the best horse in here.
At one time she was. Yeah. Those last 2, and she's.
Why do you like Liberty Flame?
I felt like the
Other
drop.
than being Patrick Quick's biggest fan.
I felt like I do love Pat. You know,
do.
I love me some Pat Quick.
He's a very nice man.
I felt like she's finally getting a chance to run in a spot she belongs. I think the drop for Carbon is a little different than Liberty Flame because Liberty Flame probably is who she is. I think Carbon was probably better at one point in her career, and Carbon. I think the drop's worse for Carbon, whereas this filly probably belonged in for a tag.
I don't know about that.
No?
That's I would claim Liberty Flame, by the way, if I claimed horses.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know. She's got her 9 winners of 1. I thought she ran well. 2 back. 2 and 3 back, she ran fine. I mean, not great. Maybe she belongs here. She's not that fast. Last time out, she got involved in the pace. The pace completely fell apart in that race. The favorite was the speed, and she finished 6th in there. So I thought she ran okay last time. I don't know. She's coming off a leg. I guess they're sort of similar horses dropping. Maybe I ignored the drop with the 1 more than I ignored it with the 8, but she is a better price. The problem is, the only other place that I don't really know where else to go. I've got Divine Wine third, or you have second. I don't know, man.
She just ran against better, and she's cutting back. I think she might be better with less distance.
Yeah, she probably is. That's probably fair. No, she fits in here. I don't know. She also lost to Laughter. Now, I don't know how Laughter ran that race that day. We'll never know. And her 1 win was kind of a stinker. But
wow, you never say that. You would claim the 1 today, huh?
The New York, right?
I haven't seen a horse to claim in 3 weeks, for the record.
Well, I probably won't be the only one that would want to claim Liberty Flame. I don't know. Yeah,
I would if
I had more than $25.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't.
Like I said,
I haven't seen a horse to claim in 3 weeks, but if I had to bet money, I would say the 1, 5, and 8 all go to new homes today.
Yeah, that's fair. The 5 goes claim for 20, so I wouldn't be that confident with her. The 1 and 8, almost sure. The thing about the 1 and 8, they're New York breds. The 5's not a New York bred, so these horses can pick up checks running in non-winners of 1 races, which their connections know. And they're still running them. So that's something to keep in point. That's a reason maybe to move the 5 up a little bit.
You know what I've learned around here, Andy? Since I started playing the claim,
they don't give anything away. They don't give anything away.
They don't care.
All right, we're done. Naira Bets. Head over to Naira Bets. If you're not a member, use the promo code BONUS200. We'll match the $200 of your initial deposit. We have a 10% bonus on tries today. So opt in over on that. You can probably do it right on top of the new Naira Bets page, which I think is a great new feature of it. We have a cross-country Big 5, 2 at Tampa, 2 at Oaklawn. The top flight in the middle there, that starts at 3:15. And finally, America's Day at the Races from 3 to 6 on FS2. Have a great day. We are drawing Friday's card today, a card that will include turf racing, and the weather looks good for this week, so it looks like Friday and Saturday.
Distaff as well.
Yeah, the distaff is Friday
That'll be
also,
a fun
thank
race.
you, and we will not be running next Sunday, as it is Easter. When I don't even know, does Gulfstream even run on Easter? If there's one track in America that runs on Easter.
Santa Anita.
Well, they go in. Well, Santa Anita,
They're hand in hand.
they got to run. They've canceled they've canceled way too many cards. All right, we're done. Chris Griffin's just going to be getting started. He'll be up momentarily with a reprise of Scratches and Changes.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.